In this video, I want to discuss the benefits of using find and fix strategies to increase student ownership of feedback. This strategy came about from Dylan Williams' The Secret of Effective Feedback. If you'd like to read this, there's a link at the bottom of the page. In this article, Dylan Williams discusses how hard teachers work for a little impact on student feedback through their written feedback, and suggests that we should be spending twice as much time planning in response to assessment of student knowledge and understanding as we do marking itself. He also reminds us that the major purpose of feedback is not necessarily to improve the work the students have completed, but to improve the student themselves. And he makes a suggestion of making feedback into detective work. By encouraging pupils to be detectives and find their own errors, we ensure that as the recipients of feedback, pupils do as much work as the teacher. Asking children to revisit their work encourages them to press pause and study what they have done more thoroughly. It gets them to think about their original work in a more analytical way. At first, written feedback like this doesn't seem to be that helpful, but it is the first step in getting children to be more meticulous in their work as a habit. It allows us to redirect and point children to what they have done without being obvious. They have to work harder, come back to us and prove they have looked. If they still haven't detected their mistakes, then it's time to step in with more directing support. So the first strategy is, like all of these, very straightforward and easy to do. So if we've got, say, 20 questions, rather than putting a tick in across on the right and wrong ones, just tell the students that 5 of these are incorrect and allow them then to work in teams or check back through their books to find and fix those errors and mistakes. So that's the first way of using a find and fix. The second one is, rather than marking the errors in situ, so in where the students have actually made the error. So if you look at the left hand side example, the teacher has annotated right throughout that text. Rather than doing that, highlight the errors on the lines in the margins on the side and ask the students to go and find the error within that particular section. We can always couple this with using marking codes to give a little bit more direction of the type of error we wish the students to look for. This one's probably the most time consuming. The third one is providing groups of students their individual feedback but not identified to the students themselves. So you've marked some books, rather than write the feedback in their books, write it on strips of paper, pass the work back to the students in a group, say, of 4, with their written comments, and ask the students to work out whose feedback is who. This will generate a discussion about what the high quality work would look like. It will help them structure a conversation around what made their work successful or unsuccessful, and therefore they will have a very clear idea of what to do next. So in summary, find and fix strategies provide feedback that requires students to do more work on the content being studied. And the benefit of that is that it will encourage them to think deeply about the content and will improve engagement in the feedback process. As a result of that, the content being taught is therefore more likely to stick. Another benefit of find and fix strategies is that it encourages students to error check as they work through their own work. It encourages that habit. So students gain more control over the learning process, and there's a greater chance that the students will get into that habit and check it as they do their work in future. So we're working on improving the student, not necessarily the work. It also helps teachers share what quality looks like and helps students gain that, what we call, a nose for quality for work in our subjects. Thanks for listening.